6'2" senior, number 32, Chris Nolan. Playing center for the Raiders is 6'3" junior, number 34, Tyson Donald. Portsmouth forward, 6'4" senior, number 42, Jared Philpott.
Starting 4 seniors, Shea starting both their seniors, and the reason that's significant is these two teams played 2 years ago right here when they were sophomores. So Portsmouth with more experience coming back, and even more so because Portsmouth was here last season winning the Class B title for the first time ever. So Portsmouth has a bit of an experience advantage. In talking to the players after the semifinal win over Exeter West Greenwich, they seem to think that was one of their greatest assets coming in, and it'll be interesting to look at the man with the ball right there, number 10, Dan Galvin. He's a sophomore, not only new to varsity basketball, but also new to this whole Providence Civic Center thing. The kids here grew up basically watching most of the important games in this state being played here, and if this is the first time you've ever stepped on the court, it's the biggest game of your life. It can be quite nerve-wracking, as it was for Portsmouth 2 years ago and to an extent a year ago. We'll see how Shea deals with it. The jump ball won by Portsmouth. Peter Silva jumped it along with Moody. Hats started off with Moses White swinging it to Philcox. Underneath, Moody on Donald, and he's fouled. Right away, Portsmouth tries to go underneath and picks up the foul. It was against Peter Silva. First of the game comes with 15:47 left, and they're calling it on the shot, so Scott will have a chance to score the first points of the evening. Moody unable to hit. Scott has been doing a good job from the line of late. He was 1 of 2, however, in the semifinal. And he's 1 of 2 now as he hits the first points of the evening. Portsmouth up 1-0, and they settle back into the man-to-man defense. Jose Resendez up top, guarded by Moses White. He'll do the point guard duties. He's just a 6'5" junior, or 5'6" junior. De Silva. Philcox driving in. Jared gets the basket, no foul, but Moody throws his arms up into the air after a great basket by Jared Philcox. Jared's gotten into severe foul trouble early in the first half in the last 2 visits to the Civic Center. And it was especially unfortunate last year when Jared was spurring the team with 8 points before committing those fouls and having to sit down for most of the first half. Loose ball pulled down by Shea. They don't have the numbers, and now they don't have the ball. Pass intended for Peter Silva goes out of bounds, and Shea comes with the press. Galvin guarded by Ingram. Gets it up with a couple seconds to spare. Now up ahead to White. And it's going to go Shea ball. Moses looked to have it slapped away, but apparently got a finger on it before it went out of bounds. 3-0 Portsmouth with a minute and change gone by in the first half. Ingram looking underneath to Donald. And the first Shea basket of the game is scored by Tyson Donald, so it's 3-2 now, and Shea continues to show the press. Nolan breaks it. Driving in and up top is going to be a foul. And it goes against Mario De Silva. It's his first and the team's second.
Team second.
Shea showing the tenacious defense, matching up against the Portsmouth stack on the inbound from the far side. Galvin breaks it, however. Dan hands off to Moses White. He nearly has his stolen, and now he does by Resendez. Could have been a backcourt, not called. Jose Resendez going to the hole, loses the handle, and is pulled down by Galvin. Dan up ahead to White. Moses goes to the rack and scores his first points of the evening. Now it's 5-2 Portsmouth. And it's worth noting that we are on the same side as the Portsmouth crowd. It's a bit segregated here, so it may sound like Portsmouth has more of a attendance advantage than they really do, although there are more Portsmouth faithful here than Shea fans by the look of it. And the first foul of the game against Portsmouth goes against Moody. 13:40 left first half, and Silva will go to the line to shoot a pair. And he misses badly, grabbing just a piece of the net. We saw a lot of practice free throw shooting by Shea during warm-ups, and they really weren't hitting as many as they'd probably like to. The back end by Silva, round the rim, and he gets the roll, making it 5-3. Portsmouth still with the lead. Portsmouth has come out strong in all their state championship appearances, this being their third straight, but then have had stretches either in the end of the first half or beginning of the second where they back last year. And Dan Galvin drives to the hole and scores his first points ever in the building. 7-3 now Portsmouth, and the Pats have distributed their points. No player with more than 2 for Portsmouth, and a similar story for the Raiders, but they only have 3 thus far. Silva driving in on Moody, pulling up and getting it to go. Peter Silva with a modest 3 points has the game high with 13 minutes left in the first half. 7-5 now, Portsmouth. Portsmouth beats the press. Nolan driving in. And a nice move with 3 men on him. Chris Nolan scoring his first points of the game. And now the Pats have all 5 scorers in the scorebook. It's 9-5 Pats. 3 on the way by Ingram. He drains it. Ingram's first points of the game make it 9-8. That's the closest Shea's had it since the opening horn. Far side jumper by Moses White. He keeps the arm in the air. And Moses becomes the first player in the game to have multiple field goals. 4 points now for White, and a very balanced scoring attack for both teams. Ingram pulls up for the 3 again, off the rim, no good, but it's pulled down by Donald. He can't hit. Nolan grabs it, pushes it up for Portsmouth. They have a 3-on-2. White launches and drains it. Moses White, a streaky shooter, and Shea wants to stop that streak with a 20-second timeout. It comes with 11:50 left in the first half. 14-8 Portsmouth. Well, Moses White is emerging early in this game after 7, half of Portsmouth's goals. Obviously, Nolan and Moody are going to be the top, but a surprising third scorer, at least to me, is Moses White with 210 points, averaging just over 8 points a game. And White, the 3rd highest scorer on the year and the #1 scorer in this state championship game so far, with 11:45 left first half. 3 on the way and good by Mario Da Silva. Da Silva's first points of the night. 14-11 now. Shea continues to show the press, and Portsmouth seems to be able to beat it every time, although with some difficulty. Phil Cox can't hit, but Moody's right there. Scott's second chance, no good. A 3rd try by Moody. He has it swatted, but are they going to call the jump ball or the foul? I believe it's going to be the jump ball, and on the alternating possession, it goes Shea way. So a great play by Mario Da Silva, tying up Moody on the shot. 14-11 now, with 11:15 to play. Silva driving in and looking, but it's picked off by Phil Cox up ahead. They're not gonna get him. Moses with the deuce. 9 points now for White. He has more than half of Portsmouth's 16 game total. Yet to see a substitution with a little over 5 minutes gone by. And another deuce by Tyson Donald. He has 4 points now, and it's 16-13 Pats. Nolan pushes it up, easily breaking the Shea press. The runner doesn't go, pulled down, but now lost. And they get it back to Resendiz. Another three on the way and good by Mario Da Silva. That's 2 trays now for the 5'11" senior from Shea. Nolan finds Moody. Scott slows it up. Galvin up top. Dan has the pass batted, but Nolan runs it down. Chris trapped, in trouble. Could have been a jump ball. They don't call it. Chris gets it back, luckily. And Nolan gets called for steps. And first substitution of the game is Aubrey Beatu coming in for Donald. Beatu, a 6'1" junior forward. And you'd have to say in the early stages, the 2 Portsmouth players who are having the most trouble getting it started are Chris Nolan and Jared Philcox. Although each have a basket, they haven't played with the type of intensity and domination that you expect from 2 of the top players in the division. The basket there by Beatu, who just came in, and Nolan throws it away to Resendiz, and he nearly throws it away again, but finds Ingram. Silva trapped in the corner by Galvin and Moody. Near side, it's Ingram. Da Silva far side, barely gets it away, and the long board's pulled down by White. Shea with a little token pressure by Ingram. And Galvin nearly loses the grip. Now he does, down on one knee, throwing it up to Nolan, who's luckily there. 9 minutes left now, first half. Chris tries to shoot his way into the game, but can't hit from the far side. Shea pushing it up now with their first lead of the evening. It's 18-16 all of a sudden. And they're going to call the offensive foul against Shea. Haven't caught the number yet.
Shea foul on number 3.
There you go, number 3, Jose Resendiz, picking up his first and the team's third. Substitutions for Portsmouth as Gilling and Moniz check in. Nolan sits down along with Galvin. And Mike Lonnie and Rick Pasco, the Portsmouth coaching staff, clearly seeing Chris's difficulties in the early goings. Chris usually doesn't come out for at least the first 8 minutes of the first half.
Number 21, Ryan Moniz.
Gilling started for more than half the season. He's into the game, and that could have been an up and down. I don't see why it wasn't, as Mike went up in the air, came back down. Ingram front of the pack. Got fouled, no basket, and it's got to be against Gilling. He was the only person in the neighborhood, but I didn't think he did much.
Portsmouth foul on number 11, Moses White.
No, it was Moses White, who seemed to be even farther away. But Moses picks up his first foul and the team's second with 8:20 left in the first half.
Ingram, 2 shots.
Ingram has more troubles from the line. Shea, 1 of 3 so far from the stripe. Back end goes, and there have been 3 sets of free throws attempted in this game, and each time the players went 1 of 2, missing the first one, hitting the second. Steal here as Philcox didn't step to the ball. Beatu picked it off, and Shea now with a 3-point lead and the ball midway through the first half. Pass intended for Ingram, picked off by Gilling. Michael coast to coast, and I think he's going to get called for steps. Yes, ball got caught on his hip, and that's a situation where if the ball gets stuck on your leg or your hip, they're going to call you for traveling. But if you were swinging the ball across your body, they'd give you the step. And Portsmouth wants to talk it over with exactly 8 minutes left in the first half. 19-16, Raiders with the lead.
Credit unions for their sponsorship of this great Credit Union Classic. Without their support, March Madness at the Civic Center.
Resendiz bringing it up, and Portsmouth still in the man-to-man defense.
Athletes and fans appreciate their effort.
Ingram now going baseline. Gets it out to Silva, doesn't go. And the second chance by Peter Silva for the basket. He has 5 points now, and Shea with a 5-point lead. White up top, Portsmouth under pressure on the court and in the scoreboard. White still can't get a grip. And Philcox goes to the floor but knocks it out of bounds. And the substantial Portsmouth crowd has been hushed by a run by Shea. It's actually a 7-2 run by the Raiders, as Portsmouth's been caught on their heels for the last few minutes. 3 on the way, and another example of just that. Mario Da Silva reigning his 3rd tray of the evening, 24-16 now. Shea's opened it up to an 8-point margin with 7 minutes left first half. Nice move by Moses, evading 2 players, and now the J by Philcox. It doesn't go. Jarrett down on the floor again, gets it to Nolan. And a big basket by Chris, nearly fouled. Well, Nolan back into the game physically and hopefully mentally as well. Pats claw back to a 6-point deficit with 6:40 to play. Ingram goes to the hole, pulls up from 10, no good. The tip and then the board by Gilling. Mike gets it to Nolan. They heave to White. He takes it himself, and Portsmouth showing why they were 24-2 so far this season. Shea now calling the timeout with 6:22 left in the first half. 24-20 Raiders. Zende's bringing it up on Gilling. Jose dishes to Silva, driving in. The one-hand runner goes, and no, it was Da Silva, not Silva. His first non-3-point basket of the evening. He has a game-high 11 points. Gilling driving baseline, and he's hacked as he goes to the hole. So Mike will get a chance to go to the line. The foul called against number 35, Aubrey Beatu, his first and the team 4th. Mike yet to score so far tonight. He hits the first one and becomes the first non-starter to score for Portsmouth. Mike was a starter for most of the season for Portsmouth. Moses White has played the 2 guard since. Nolan cleans up the miss and now makes it just a 3-point deficit for Portsmouth. Pat's coming with the press, but Shea's able to break it. Donald gets it to Silva, but Peter called for the steps. And Portsmouth now will try their press break offense with 5:39 left in the first half, trailing 26-23. Playing from behind, a position Portsmouth not used to this season. They've controlled and dominated most of their games throughout. Nolan drives in, pulls up from the free throw line, doesn't go. Nearly pulled down by Philcox, but it was grabbed away by Da Silva. Resendiz now working on Gilling, pulls up from 15, no good. Jared with the board, Galvin outlets to Moniz. He loses the grip, and Resendiz back the other way. It's getting darn sloppy with 5 minutes left. Turnover the other way now, but Shea is able to hold on. Moody goes to the scorer's table, set to check in. Three on the way, and a long one by Ingram off the rim and over the backboard. Substitution as Moody comes in and Moniz sits down. Galvin doing a good job not showing some of the jitters we feared coming in, as the lone Portsmouth key player who wasn't here last season. The runner by Phil Cox off the rim, the backboard, and finally in. Jared with 4 of Portsmouth's 25 points. They trail by 1 with 4:15 left. Donald, despite a hand in his face, is able to hit. Tyson now with 6 points and a 3-point margin for Shea with 4 minutes left. Nice look from Nolan to Phil Cox, and Jared all alone on the press break, able to hit again in their matching baskets here in Providence. Both teams showing the press and both teams able to break it thus far. Resendiz slows it up after Ingram broke the Portsmouth press. Ingram back out to Resendiz. Jose drives in, looking to Silva, but it went out of bounds and goes Portsmouth way. Another quick substitution as Monez comes right back in, and Phil Cox comes out, and I think Portsmouth is doing the additional substitutions simply to keep the legs fresh. This seems to be a very physically taxing game in comparison to most of Portsmouth's matchups. A lot of pressing, and looks like it's going to be close down to the wire. The Portsmouth starters not used to having to play a full 32 minutes. Peter Silva picks up his second foul and the team 5th. 28-27 now with 3.5 to go. Nolan has it swatted away. He wanted a foul. Resendiz up top, 1-on-3. He wisely slows it up, but a no-look pass to Ingram, and William wasn't ready for it. Portsmouth gets it back. Substitution as Moses White checks in for Gilling. Mike sits down with that 1 free throw. And of all the players on the court, Galvin, or at least for Portsmouth, Galvin looks like he maybe spit it out, Brooke. Nolan hits. The point being, Galvin likely to get tired in the second half. Portsmouth can't afford to take the floor general out, doing the most running up and down the court, having to break that Shea press. So we'll look to see what Portsmouth does to keep Galvin fresh. They've shuffled the big men in and out nicely, and we'll see how Dan handles the fatigue in the second half. Right now, Portsmouth has got back the lead for the first time in about 5 minutes. It's 29-28. But that all changes after William Ingram hits another 3, makes it 31-29. 2:40 to play, and it's going to be close at halftime. Portsmouth traditionally a second half team. Dan drives in, then looks to Moody, but the foul is going to be on the floor. The team's 6th against Shea. It goes against William Ingram, his first and the team's 6th. So Portsmouth will be in the 1-1 bonus for the final 2:32 of the first half. White inbound to the stack. Underneath, Moody gets the easy deuce. Scott's first field goal of the game, coming with just 2.5 minutes left in the first half. One of the reasons why Portsmouth is only tied in this game. We're not at it. Scott's able to pull down the De Silva miss, and Portsmouth brings it up. And Nolan gets called for steps. On the other end, Galvin, retreating, was actually held up by William Ingram, but wouldn't let Dan down court as Portsmouth ran the fast break. An interesting strategy, and certainly none of the officials were looking at the opposite side of the court as Portsmouth pressed it to the left side. Silva gets swatted and fouled, apparently. 3 Portsmouth players in the neighborhood. Foul went against Moody for Scott. That's his first and the team 3rd. Moody got into some foul trouble in the quarterfinal matchup against Ponagansett, playing with 4 fouls for the latter stages of the game. Silva unable to hit. He's 1 of 3 from the line so far. In substitution as Phil Cox checks in for Moody. Portsmouth doesn't want Scott to pick up a 3rd foul before they go to the locker room. We have 1:57 left till halftime. Tiptoes on the line, and the ball off the rim, and then a cheap foul. An unfortunate series for Shea. as Silva misses them both, and then the foul by Mario da Silva, his second and the team's 7th. So a foul some 90 feet away from the hoop will result in a 1-and-1 opportunity for Portsmouth. Phil Cox goes to the line so far with 6 points. Portsmouth a combined 2 of 4 from the stripe tonight. Substitution as Silva sits down with 2 fouls and Aubrey Beato comes in. Jared can't get it to go, but a nice foul by Nolan. Second such basket for Chris. Nolan has 10 points. In win or lose, Nolan's a lock for the all-tourney team. Chris with 15 points in the quarterfinal against Pontigansett, 14 against EWG in the semi, and already 10 points here. Nolan matching his 14.5-point average in the regular season. In the playoffs, he's one of the only Portsmouth players to keep that average up. Portsmouth as a team has averaged about 56, 57 points a game. During the regular season, they averaged about 63, so scoring down in the playoffs, and that basically because of the extra West Greenwich game where they scored just 47 points in the win. The runner by Moses is no good, and back the other way, Resende pushes it. 3-on-4, but he drives in anyway. Swatted away by Jared. 3 now by Silva. Round the rim, no good. Pulled down by White. 1 minute to play, first half. Portsmouth with a 33-31 lead. It's been darn tight throughout. Both teams having stretches of good and poor play, but right now neither team able to assert themselves as the favorite as we get ready. 7 seconds to go. Portsmouth with the 3-point margin and the ball. If they want, they can play the little shot clock game and make sure they get 2 shots and Shea only 1. Nolan going to hole with authority. 12 points now for Chris, and after a slow start, Nolan has demonstrated why he is the top scorer for Portsmouth. 392 points on the season for Chris. 20 this evening would give him 400, something a Portsmouth player hasn't done in a long, long time. The swat by Moniz, and he gets it up to Nolan with 10 now left. Galvin gets control of it. Portsmouth holding for the last shot with a 4-point lead. 3 now, 2, Galvin looking, White needs to let it fly, and he does off the top of the backboard, and no good, but Portsmouth, after a bit of a sluggish reclaim the lead at halftime after 16 minutes. It's 35-31 Portsmouth with the Class B state title on the line. The high scores at the half for Portsmouth. Chris Nolan with 12 points and Moses White with 11. Jared Philcox has 6, Moody with 3, Galvin with 2, and Jilling chipped in a free throw. On the Shea side, 11 points by Mario da Silva leads them, 7 points by Bill Ingram, 6 by Donald, 5 by Silva, and a deuce by Beato. Portsmouth starts out with the ball and a 4-point lead. White driving in, loses the ball, and it's recovered by Ingram. He gets it to Beato. And Shea has their first chance at it. Near side, Silva, swatted by Moody. Second chance, also no good. Philcox had it for a moment. Now Scott pulls it down. Galvin bringing it up ahead to Nolan. Chris elevates but can't get it to go. Gets the board after some sloppy rebounding by Shea, and Nolan scores the first points of the second half. Portsmouth with at least a little bit of residual momentum from the first half, where they were starting to pour it on as time expired. Evidence of that, Moses White all alone for the deuce. Ring the bell slowly with 14:49 in the second half. 39-31, Portsmouth with the lead. Shea with the 22nd TO. We mentioned before that Chris was close to the 400-point mark, which would be quite a milestone for an individual season. Nolan came in with 380 points, a team high, and has scored 14 so far. So with 6 more points, Chris would have 400 on the season. Right now he's averaging about 14.5 points a game, leading Portsmouth, but basically on par with Scott Moody, the all-time career scoring leader, who has 345 points this season, averaging a little over 13 points a contest. No travel called after Ingram fell down onto the floor. Resendiz now driving in, and a nice running shot by Jose. He's been running the point throughout, but that was his first points of the evening. Nolan to Galvin, the lob pass pulled off, or picked off by Resendiz. Nolan gets a hand in his face and unable to grab it after the spot. It went off Nolan despite his indication of the ball going the other way. So Shea will inbound. Peter Silva looking into Da Silva. Resendiz driving in on the Portsmouth zone defense. Interesting mishmash, not really a 2-3, kind of a matchup zone that will do what it will. Galvin bringing it up on the Shea defense, which has been man-to-man throughout. Moody to Moses, and White can't hit. 2 minutes gone by, and Portsmouth with the 6-point lead. Ingram with the basket in the foul. He went to the hole with big-time intensity. Ingram had 7 points in the first half and scores his first deuce of the second stanza in style. Foul goes against Philcox. Jared, his first, team first, obviously. Some of the foul trouble that hurt Jared in the first 2 tries at the state championship the last 2 seasons haven't plagued Philcox so far today. Ingram able to make it a 3-point play and a 3-point deficit now. Nolan lobs it up to White. Moses to the rack, can't get it to go, but a third tip in by Chris Nolan. 41-36 now as Portsmouth continues to hold on to that 5-point lead. Shot no good by Donald, pulled down by Nolan, but he loses it on the handoff to Galvin. Now Moody with it, and we've seen tons of turnovers. We don't count them, but if we did, we'd be sure to be low on ink by now, and we're getting low on ink just marking up Chris Nolan's tallies. Already 18 points for Nolan, and he's sure to hit that 400-point plateau with 12 minutes and 50 seconds left in the state championship game. Ingram hits his 3rd tray of the evening. He has 13 points now, and again, it's down to 4 points. The deficit, I'm speaking of, 43-39, Moody can't hit, and Resendiz brings it up. Da Silva launches. Yes, they're gonna count it. First official wasn't sure, but then they definitely gave it to him. So a chance for a 4-point play. The foul went against Philcox, his second, and the team's second. The rare 4-point play opportunity for Mario Da Silva. He already has 4 3-pointers on the evening, 7 3-pointers total for Shea. And that's why they're still in this thing. The board by Tyson Donald doesn't hurt, and then the basket to boot, and all of a sudden Shea has the lead, 44-43. Galvin mugged by a pair of Raiders. William Ingram and Mario Da Silva there, but they called the foul on Ingram, his second and the first of the second half. Nolan bringing it up, and now up to Galvin, and he overshoots the target. 12-12 left now as Shea has that 1-point lead, and Portsmouth hasn't really proven itself under pressure this season. When Exeter West Greenwich put on a charge in the last game, the latter stages of the first half in that contest, Portsmouth really crumbled for a while. Similar to the first half in this game, although a little worse than what Shea did to the Pats tonight. Portsmouth, though, as we mentioned earlier, traditionally plays better in the second half. Nolan has to get rid of it, and he does to Philcox. Jared with a great shoestring grab. Goes to the hole, unable to beat his man for his first points of the second half. He now has 8 on the evening, and Portsmouth has reclaimed a 45-44 lead. Zendes near side to Ingram. Silva now with Moody in his face, and Nolan gets the miss. 2-on-2. Chris looking for White, but he had it stripped. Shea comes to his feet. Now Galvin picks off the pass, able to hold on to his dribble as he goes to his knees looking for White, but he goes out of bounds. And the officials have been very lenient on players going to the floor with the ball. That time Galvin maintained the dribble, but on several occasions players have just flat out gone to their knee without a traveling violation being called by either Mike Camara or John Resendiz. Near side Ingram guarded by Galvin. Portsmouth in the man-to-man defense, and Philcox led up on his man, but Donald was unable to get a grip of the backdoor pass, and Portsmouth has one more chance to try and break the press. Up ahead, Moody, the home run pass from Nolan. He goes to the hole. Foul not called. Gets it back after the Philcox miss. A third errant shot. And finally, Shea's able to pull it down. Resendiz, 5'6", grabs it from a couple trees, just about a foot taller than him. The spin move and the bucket for Mario Da Silva. He has 16 points now, second only to Nolan. Several players in double digits. We'll run them down for you in a moment. And Jared Philcox adds himself to that list with the deuce. He now has 10 points. Nolan has 18. We just mentioned Philcox with 10. Moses White with 13 for Portsmouth. Double dribble called against Peter Silva. And on the other side, Ingram has 13 points, 15, or rather 16 for Da Silva for Shea. White breaks the press by himself, now looks to Gilling. Mike just checked in. Unable to hit the runner, but gets his own board. Almost fouled, but they don't call it against Donald. Portsmouth not happy about that. Let's see how Portsmouth does without Galvin on the floor. Dan understandably tired after playing most of the first half and the beginning stages of the second. We're under 10 minutes left in the game. Nolan leaves men in his wake as he goes to the hole, goes all the way for the basket and the foul, coast to coast for Chris Nolan, and he's just become the first player in recent memory to score 400 points in one season. Nolan already with 20 points on the night, and should Portsmouth win, it would be Chris's scoring, especially in the latter stages of the first half, and so far in the second, they have to thank. Nolan yet to go to the line tonight. He's struggled over the last couple weeks, and that struggle continues as he misses the chance at the three-point play. Donald off the Silva miss, and he can't hit, but it's run down by Ingram. William gets it to Jose up top, and Resendiz is guarded by White for a little while, goes right by him, gets it to Donald, and Philcox can't stop him. Tyson Donald with another deuce. He has 10 points now. 49-48, Portsmouth with the lead with 9 minutes, 9 seconds left in this Division II state championship. Portsmouth trying to repeat as state champions. Shea trying to do what they did 2 years ago against Portsmouth, which is win in this building for this title. Moses White can't hit, is pulled down by Donald. He gets it up to Silva, guarded by 3 men and fouled by one of them. I believe it's going to be Moses White with the violation. Yes, it is number 11. Moses getting called for his second foul on the team third with 8:45 left in the second half. Substitution as Ryan Muniz checks in. Nolan goes to the bench. Portsmouth consistently keeping about 3 of their starters on the floor at any given time, trying to not so much play a deeper lineup, but get their 6th, 7th, and 8th men in the game longer than normal to keep that main group of 8 fresh. Round the rim, but no good for Silva. Board by Philcox, up ahead to Gilling. Mike gets it to Monez. Ryan just checked in. Moody goes to the hole and picks up the foul, unable to get it to go. He'll go to the line to shoot a pair. The foul goes against, let's see, either 32 or 33. No, 34. Tyson Donald picking up his first foul in the team third. Timeout called by Portsmouth with 8:15 left in the second half. It's 49-48 Portsmouth.
34. Tyson Donald replaced by number 35.
These broadcasts have gone on with the help of very many and the recognition of very few. Even a production as small as this requires a lot of time and energy from a good number of people. So I'd be remiss not to thank these individuals, not only for tonight's game or even the season, but for the last 3 years. They include Brian Medeiros, Nancy Silva, Donna Nolan, Alan Southwick, and the PHS Athletic Boosters, Daryl Rigo, John Braga, Mike Lunny, the PHS janitorial staff, all the schools we broadcast from, Jack Higgins, Dan Lesky, John Jenga Sr., and all the others who have run camera for us over the years. Thank you all very much.
If you want a copy of each game,
We're just about midway through, so the Division I girls have just gone to the locker room, and the Division II girls matchup that preceded this game. The Johnston High School Panthers beat the North Smithfield North Women 53-28. The Division I matchup coming up after this, and that's where the winner of this game and the loser will be presented their awards for their either winning or running up in the matchup. Moody unable to connect, and Scott hasn't been able to get on the board in the second half. He is 1 of 4 from the line tonight, usually a very strong free throw shooter. Resendiz with a spin move, then dishes it out. De Silva can't hit, but Resendiz is able to run down the board, and he has countless rebounds despite being the smallest player on the court. 3 no good, but a nice follow-up by Silva, and they're going to call the jump ball, and on the alternating possession, it'll stay Shea way with 7:50 left in the game. 49-48 still Portsmouth, as it has been for quite some time. Gilling off the Silva miss and gets it up to Philcox. 9 players playing in their final high school basketball game tonight. 7 Portsmouth seniors and on a much younger Shea team, 2 upperclassmen for Shea. The runner by Ingram doesn't go, pulled down by Beatu. Now Ingram going baseline, looking back for Beatu, but is picked off by Gilling. Mike pushing it up. He has Moody. Scott goes to the hole, again can't hit, but is fouled by Aubrey Beatu, picking up his second foul and the team 4th against Shea. Moody was 4 of 6 against Pontigansett in the quarterfinal from the line. So far, not having much luck. 1 of 4 from the stripe, and just 3 points for Moody. Scott misses the front end, 0 of 3 in the second half. Scott had 12 points against Pontigansett, but just 7 against Exeter West Greenwich, and that trend of declining points seems to be holding form tonight. He's able to hit the back end, and the substitution, Nolan comes in for Moody. Those two players have been the key to Portsmouth's success tonight, but right now Moody having his troubles, much as Chris Nolan did in the early stages of the first half. Ingram goes to the hole, takes about half a dozen steps, but doesn't get called for the travel. Ingram now with 15 points, second only to De Silva for the high Shea score. He's done a fine job out of the two-guard position for the Raiders. Underneath from Nolan to Phil Cox, and Jared now with 12 points on the evening, and Portsmouth reclaims the lead 52-50 now with 6.5 minutes left. Resendiz drives in and is fouled. No shot. And the foul goes against Gilling for Mike. That's his first in the team fourth substitutions as Tyson Donald checks in for Aubrey Beatu, and White sits down in favor of Dan Galvin. Resendiz driving in, but it's an offensive foul. At first it looked like it was going against Galvin, but in fact the foul went against Resendiz for Jose, his second and the team fifth.
Resendiz, his third, team fifth.
And correction, you may have heard it on the PA announcement, it's Resendiz's third foul, not his second, so that could loom large if he picks up another in the next 6 minutes of the game. Nolan top of the key with the shot clock under 15, driving, can't hit the runner, tipped away, and Gilling had it for a moment, but now Silva up to Resendiz, guarded by Galvin. And again, Galvin draws the charge, and he's pumped up about it. Jose Resendiz picking up his second straight foul. He now has 4 on the night, 6 for Shea, and a great defensive play by Dan Galvin. Shea not happy with the call.
Foul number 3, Joey Resendiz, his fourth. Team 6.
Galvin near side gets it to Gilling. Mike launches for 3, doesn't go. Silva had it for a second. Great save by Phil Cox, and then Moniz getting down on the floor. Ryan looks underneath to Jared. The spin move, the up and under, and nearly a highlight reel move doesn't go for Phil Cox, and it goes Shea way off the miss, and the Portsmouth bench sits back down.
Phil Cox replaced by number 30, Moody.
And Portsmouth continues to shuffle up the front court. 20-second timeout called with 5 minutes and 10 seconds left in this game. It's 52-50. Portsmouth still holding on to the lead. At halftime, Portsmouth had a 4-point lead, and that's been about what the lead has remained in the second half. Shea has tied it up and never taken the lead. Portsmouth never with more than a 6-point margin. Right now it's a 2-point lead. They're very late coming out of the timeout. Resendiz is guarded by Gilling. Ingram now guarded by Galvin. Drives in, pulls up from 8, and knocks it at 52. We're under 5 minutes, so every basket counts now. With the state title on the line, Portsmouth has had the lead throughout, but Shea more than within striking distance, keeping it to single digits, and right now they've tied it up. The foul by Tyson Donald, his second, in a big 7th foul against Shea, meaning that from now on, Portsmouth will shoot the 1-and-1 bonus. Portsmouth only has 14 fouls in the second half. Scott's able to hit the free throw. He is 3 of, let's count them all up, 8 from the line so far. and he airballs the second. I'm sorry, that makes him 3 of 8. He was 3 of 7 before his second air ball of the evening. As we mentioned earlier, Scott usually does a fine job from the line. Not feeling it this evening. Scott, a 2-time starter in these state championship games, so nerves shouldn't be a factor playing at the Civic Center. Peter Silva hits his first 3 of the evening. Portsmouth yet to hit a 3-point field goal. Shea has 8 of them. They also have a 2-point lead as Portsmouth seems to be losing the momentum, and it doesn't help things when Nolan overshoots Moody out of bounds. And a substitution now is White checks in for Gilling. Mike sits down. Almost 3/4 through the second half, Portsmouth trailing by 2. The jump stop and the floater by Peter Silva goes. He has back-to-back baskets. We're under 4 minutes left, and Shea now has a 4-point lead. Shades of 2 years ago when Portsmouth led throughout before Shea started to dominate in the second half. Portsmouth just ran out of time in that game, unable to get the surge going soon enough. Portsmouth is going to need to get something started soon. Now 3.5 minutes left, a 4-point deficit. Every possession means a whole bunch in this state championship, and Chris Nolan makes good use of that one, scoring his 22nd point of the evening and making it 57-55. He urges the troops to get their arms up. They're playing tight half-court defense. Trap, and now the steal by Moniz. Up ahead to White, and Moses is able to knot it up again. White now with 15 points. The Portsmouth bench on its feet. We're knotted at 57 with 3 minutes even left. And a foul against Portsmouth slows things up. It goes against Ryan Moniz. For Moniz, it's his first and the team 5th. Substitution as Phil Cox checks in for Ryan, and Portsmouth has slowly but surely integrated all their starters into the game. Phil Cox, Nolan, Moody, White, and Galvin on the floor as we go inside 3 minutes. Ingram guarded tightly by Galvin. It's crunch time, and Ingram delivers. A great job by Ingram in the second half. He has 12 points in the second half. Moody looking, finds Moses. Near side, Nolan, Chris. Driving in, spinning, off the glass, doesn't go. Rebound by Phil Cox. Jared can't get it to go. He wanted a foul. 2 off-balance shots by Portsmouth, and now 2.25 remain. The Shea can score now would be huge. And it's going Portsmouth way. Shea can't believe it. Tyson Donald thought it went off Phil Cox, but Jared signaled the other way, and now Portsmouth is going to call a timeout. A big, big call, and it goes Portsmouth way with 2:11 left in the game. 59-57, Shea by a deuce. During the timeout, a battle of spirit among the crowds, nearly as vicious as the battle on the floor, as the Portsmouth cheerleaders were faced with resounding boos from the Shea fans, which only spurred on the Portsmouth crowd to support the cheerleaders more than normal. Nolan back in the real action. Unable to hit the runner, and Resendiz with a big board. Now 2 minutes left. Portsmouth rushes the shot a little bit out of the TO. We'll see what they have in store for the last 120 seconds. You have to think that the big picture was discussed as much as that last play in the Portsmouth huddle. Certainly not much was set up on the last Portsmouth offensive try. Shea with a 2-point lead. Ingram misses a big 3, and Nolan pulls it down. 1:35 now. The winner of this game will certainly earn it. A fine effort by both teams. Nolan dishes by Phil Cox, and a big foul as Jared will get a chance to shoot a pair. I believe the foul is going to go against Donald.
Shea foul number 30.
Yes, it is. Number 34, Tyson Donald, picking up his third and the team eighth. Portsmouth still has 2 fouls to give. Shea already has put the Pats in the bonus, and they'll go in the double bonus with 2 more fouls. Philcox so far 0 of 1 from the line. 2 huge free throws. Can't hit the front end, and if Portsmouth loses this thing, they can blame it on the foul line. They just haven't shot well. 4 of 11 so far from the line, and Philcox makes it a little better with that free throw. A 1-point deficit now in a big possession for Shea. Portsmouth needs the stop. They come with a half-court trap defense, and it's knocked deflected by Nolan out of bounds. Mario Da Silva to inbound to Portsmouth's man-to-man defense. Nolan covering up the ball as best he can, but Resendiz gets it up top. Ingram airballed to 3 on the last possession. He has it up top again. This time he chooses to drive in. The runner goes, and it's a 3-point lead now. 1 minute left, and Portsmouth trails by 3. A down-to-the-wire deficit position Portsmouth doesn't know too well this season. In previous years, their winning streaks have been caused by these type of comebacks, and now it needs to be an aberration from the season for Portsmouth to win their 2nd straight championship. The game clock's counting tenths of a second, and Portsmouth is down by 1. Under 40 seconds now, about a 12-second differential between the shot and game clocks. Ingram to Silva. Da Silva now underneath. Gets it to go in the foul. 27.5 seconds left, and Shea's just taken a huge 3-point lead. Philcox picking up his 3rd and the team 5th, and Portsmouth has some talking to do. 27.5 seconds left. The Pats trail by 3, 63-60, Raiders.
If you want a copy of this game, Productions, a tape of the game, you may purchase or put in an order, or a tape at the main entrance. The awards for this game will be given at halftime of the next game, Division I girls game between Arlington and St. Raphael.
The situation is this. Portsmouth trails by 3. Shea is at the line. So far, they're 3 of 8 from the stripe tonight. Just 1 of 2 as a team in the second half. Portsmouth hasn't fouled much, but the 2 big free throws are for Peter Silva, who's 1 of 4 from the line, all in the first half, and none of those nearly as pressure-packed as this. But he converts on the 3-point play. A substitution now as Portsmouth plays offense-defense. Gilling in for Philcox. Portsmouth trails by 4. Full court pressure by Shea. Galvin drives it up, gets it to Mike. Gilling seen limited action. Underneath to Moody, and steps on the line does Mario Da Silva. A game-saving break for Portsmouth. Now 17.9 seconds left. They need to score now. They're 24-2, but in the biggest game they've struggled. And a steal here by Shea, and that may do it. Portsmouth needs to foul real quick. Moody picks up his 3rd violation and the team 7th, which will send Shea to the line. Just 12.3 seconds left, and Portsmouth needs a miracle. Portsmouth calls another timeout with 12.3 seconds left. 64-60 Portsmouth, and the Pats crowd has been positively hushed Shea stomping its feet and getting excited, while Portsmouth is basically just in the back of their seats, shocked at what they've seen. Portsmouth really didn't have its fans watch any of its losses. Yeah, they lost 2 games, but one of them was in a Christmas tournament in Meredith, New Hampshire last December, so really no one saw that one. The other Portsmouth loss was at Pilgrim, which is quite a hike from PHS, so not too many faithful got out for that one either. Portsmouth 17-1 during the regular season in league, 19-1 in league overall, counting the playoffs. This the biggest game of the season, unmistakably, and so far they haven't been able to play with the type of domination they did throughout the regular season. A missed free throw, but it's picked up by Shea. Nolan picks up the foul, and that's just huge, as Portsmouth really needed Shea to miss that, but then grabbed the board. Portsmouth really hoping for a miracle, but no one seems ready to step up and provide it. The Portsmouth team nearly as dejected as their fans. De Silva from the line, it doesn't go, Nolan pulls it down. 5, 4, he launches a huge 3. Portsmouth needed that to go, but it goes out of bounds with 0.6 seconds left. And Shea will win its second Class B state championship in 3 years. There you have it, 64-60. Portsmouth with a stunning defeat after a dominating season, and the Raiders are able to stomp through the Class B bracket and knock off the Division II Goliath. Portsmouth really just stunned. They led throughout. Shea's only lead in the first half was a 31-30 margin about midway through, or a little more than midway through. You're going to shake hands, but Shea, understandably excited at the win. Their coach, Bill Monaghan, trying to get things in order. The trophy presentations will be made at halftime of the next game. We'll stick around and show them to you. For us in about an hour, but for you, you'll be watching them in just a few moments. Portsmouth's loss despite a tremendous performance by Chris Nolan, whose 24 points led all scorers. Chris had, let's do the math real quick, 43 points in 3 Portsmouth playoff games, and certainly Nolan will be an all-tourney selection of less importance, say all division, and Nolan and Moody have to be on the first team of that team. But right now, Portsmouth focusing on a very disappointing loss as they go off to under the tunnels to the locker room, extremely dejected. Dan Galvin, one of the few Portsmouth players who really kept the hope alive when the clock went under a minute and the Portsmouth deficit mounted, is the only one speaking to reporters right now. Certainly a lot to talk about after a disappointing Portsmouth game. The Pats no doubt took this game very seriously, but throughout their season have kind of entered the games with a very loose attitude. This game they came in with normal first half play, hanging in and taking the lead, but usually it's the second half where they dominated. However, today, Shea was able to stick in tight, keep it to single digits, and at times tie it up throughout, and then put on the surge in the latter stages to take the win. We're going to have all the final stats and interesting stuff that comes along with the state championship game. A lot of trophies to be handed out in just a few moments. Again, your final was 64-60. Shea over Portsmouth in the Division II final. We'll be right back. high scorers, first for Shea, William Ingram led the Raiders with 21 points, followed by Mario Da Silva with 16. Peter Silva and Tyson Donald each had 10. 2 points chipped in by Jose Resendez and Aubrey Biabu. The Raiders were 4 of 10 from the line, combining for their 64 points. The losing Patriots were led by Chris Nolan, whose 24 points gives him 404 on the career. Quite a milestone for Chris in the loss. He was followed by Moses White with 15 points. That gives Moses 225 on the season. And then Jared Philcox, who had 13 points. However, it fell off quite quickly from there. And Scott Moody, who averaged 13.2 points a game during the rest of the season, had just 5 this evening, was 3 of 8 from the line, and combined for just 5 points. Just his only field goal in the first half. So after that, we had Dan Galvin with 2 points and a first half free throw chipped in by Mike Gilling. Portsmouth with 60 points in the 64-60 loss. They were 5 of 13 from the line, and that certainly didn't help things as they tried to repeat as state champions and failed, losing to Shea in the state championship for the second time in 3 years. Portsmouth.
Presentation for the boys Division II runners-up. First of all, the flag to the coach of the Portsmouth coaches Mike Mooney and Rick Pasco. The runners-up.
Walk the front on the other side of the table, please.
Mike Mooney and Rick Pasco. Flag being presented by Principal Harry Foley from North Kingstown. Members of the Portsmouth High School team, Dan Galvin, Moses White, Paul Buck, Ryan Moniz, David Sylvia, John Sarachuk, Scott Moody, Chris Nolan, Mike Gilling, Jared Philcox, Kevin Hughes, Travis Huckler, and Nick Kenny. 1997 runners-up, Division II boys. Walk Day presented by Principal Larry Coley from North Kingstown High School. Principal in charge of boys basketball. Tucker Credit Union is represented today by Mr. Bob Andres and the Empire Corp Federal Credit Union by Mr. Joe Burnett. President of the Boys Coaches Association, Steve Cesaretti. After the plaque being presented to the championship team, the Charles E. Shea High School Raiders, Coach William Monaghan and his assistant Robert Williams. The championship caps being presented by the credit union. Individual awards. Thomas Gay Jr. The 14, Jimmy Lopes. The 20, Gunther Guzman. 22, Luis Gonzalez. 24, Ruth Rodriguez. Number 30, Antonio Orlinde. Number 32, Mario da Silva. Number 33, Peter Silva. Number 34, Tyson Donald. And number 35, Obi Bainu. The Coaches Association selected an all-tourney team based on quarterfinals, semifinals, and today's finals. Most valuable player for the runners-up in today's game from Portsmouth, number 32, Chris Nolan. Chris Nolan. Most valuable player for the championship team, the Raiders of Shea, number 10, Billy Ingram. Now for the all-tourney team from Exeter, West Greenwich, Scott Main. Scott Main is here. From Barrington High School, Ryan Dempsey. Ryan or his coach is here, accept the award from the all-tourney team. From Portsmouth High, Jared Philcox, all-tourney. And from Shea, number 30,